it's not my work, it's my life work. I feel like this is my God-given purpose, my God-given call, and I love coming out and helping people.
Hi guys, thank you for joining us on this episode of Purpose Driven Investment Podcast.
We're at Owners Club in San Antonio, Texas.
Yes, it's such a perfect weather. My dear friend Glenis Hargreaves, and she has been a public insurance adjuster for over 30 years.
Yes.
Yeah, so when she first approached me, I was like, what is this public insurance adjuster? And you start talking about what you did for the past few years, you share your experience. I was just so amazed by it. Then we start talking about what kind of client you usually serve. And then it leads us down to we're in a really weird season now. The summer is coming up. Had quite a lot of terrible wildfire incidents for the past few years, right? And you start sharing the idea of you're going to move into Hawaii.
Yes.
Right? Which is like, wow, not going to Hawaii to have a vacation is doing something way more impactful. So before I dive into that, I want to take a chance to kind of introduce you to our audience to kind of share how you started and why you decided to choose this as your profession.
Awesome. So thank you for having me. What a gift, what a blessing, what a privilege, right? So I have been a public insurance adjuster since 1991, but I started out in 1988. And what drove me to be able to do this is because a year before I joined the industry, I had a claim, and that claim was denied. A really bad accident, and the insurance company did not pay me. They decided that it was our fault. Someone ran the stop sign, and I was in California, and they did not pay us. So when the lady that interviewed me for this line of work, I started out in fire reconstruction, and she's like, back in the day, we didn't even have phones. We have beepers. That's what we had. That's how old I am. And I'm trying to understand what it is that I'm supposed to do at this major fire that took place in Baldwin Park. It was a paper company that went up, and
went up in flame.
Went up in flame. Yeah, it was a company, it was a total loss, and you had about 15 houses that were completely
decimated.
Yes. Yeah. But I didn't understand what I was supposed to do. There was a moment where she said, you're supposed to advocate for people. And I go, wait, I can do that.
I know you're a bulldog. You're so good at advocating for people based on their benefit claim, which we can dive into specific on that. So is that how you decided, I can look into it?
Yes. So my kids say it's because she has a lot of unsolicited advice, and she will just give it to you, and she'll make it her business, although it's not hers. So when it was like, okay, you're supposed to advocate and make sure that people are taken care of,
right,
I could connect to that message.
Okay.
I connected to that message on an individual level because I needed someone growing up to advocate for me. I come from a background of a lot of abuse, and I needed that in my life. I lacked that, and it was like, oh my gosh.
I wish somebody was there at your corner for you.
Yes. So I tell people, I know it's a cliche, it's not my work, it's my life work. It is for me. I feel like this is my God-given purpose, my God-given call, and I love coming out and helping people. I love that you said, I didn't even know what a public adjuster is. I love that.
A lot of people didn't know about it.
They don't know. I ask people, so
what is a public
adjuster? Yes. So a public insurance adjuster, our job is to advise and assist in the preparation and presentation of a claim. Our job is to make sure that the policyholder is made whole.
Based on how it's currently written, that they're entitled for.
Yes. So the policy says they're entitled to be in the same or better position than before the claim. So a lot of times I'm doing walkthroughs, and an adjuster will say, so that roof, I'm only going to pay half of it. And I said, well, you could, if I could go down to Home Depot and find old roof.
That's like,
because
about the same like kind.
Yeah, if you cannot
10 years old.
Yeah, if you cannot make my client whole in the same position, they threw something out that's called line of sight, but there is that language damage that says they're supposed to be in the same condition. And if you cannot match that roof and it looks all different, then you really owe that roof, right? And I specifically work fires. So 95% of my clients have been fire survivors.
Fire damage.
And it's a lot easier to prove, which is a blessing.
When you say easier to prove, I had a little bit hard time understanding that because a lot of those fire damaged home in a total wildfire, damage completely decimated, there's nothing there. It's just land. How would you prove that?
So this is what we do. Our particular breakdown, how we do it, is we take the plans from the county records and we have an entire questionnaire for the homeowner. What kind of floors, what kind of finishing. So depending on what they had, we rebuild the replacement cost estimate. It's not what they had, it's what the city now requires for them to build.
To build to the current code.
To the current
standard.
code standard, exactly. Let's go back to the question of what is a public insurance adjuster, because I think it's a great question. So there's three types of adjusters. There is a company adjuster.
Hired by the insurance company.
Hired by the insurance company. There is a independent adjuster that's also hired by the insurance company during a wildfire or a big major catastrophe, right? They don't have enough staff. They hire independents to represent their interests. The only adjuster that a policyholder has is we public insurance adjusters. We work on their behalf. The Department of Insurance has said that the policyholder needs to have that balance, that fair balance, to be able to have someone on their corner, just like the insurance company has someone on their corner.
I like that. It's almost like a fair representation of having your own lawyer.
Exactly.
To advocate for you.
Exactly. So when people say, so what is it that you do? I say, I'm not a lawyer, okay? So don't come up my alley. I say, I'm like an attorney. I make sure that whatever is in your policy, whatever endorsements your policy calls for, I make sure that you get paid to the maximum of what your policy allows.
I see. So when you find this client, I assume they probably have no idea how, their insurance policy work in terms of like all the fine print, different coverage. Do you usually have to sit down and explain to them what they're allowed
Specifically, yes. My ideal client is sitting, like you said, in Maui or in the LA fires. Those are the families that I have a heart for because they have been paid. Most of those families have been paid policy limits. What they have not been paid is all the other endorsements that are in their policy.
Oh, yes. Let's explain a little bit. What is the endorsement to the policy?
Okay, so there's commercial policy, business policies.
Just for residential.
For residential,
Single family.
exactly. And I'm an expert in that. So you have three coverages. You have the dwelling, which is the building. I say the personal property, another word for personal property is contents, is if you shake the house and it falls, that's personal property. Another way of saying it is if you can put it in the U-Haul truck, that's personal property,
Anything
right?
that's not attached, not
Attached
fixed.
to the building, yes. And then there is additional living expense, which in some policies it may say loss of use. So those are usually the three coverages that most homeowners understand and know. So when I show up, which is usually a year, in this case, the Maui fires, 2 years later, it's very important to say that although the deadline has come and passed from the Lahaina fires, from the Maui fires, the insurance companies are asking the governor, the politicians, and I'm very happy to hear this, they're asking insurance companies, not mandatory, but they're asking that they continue to pay claims, although it's been 2 years, which is a blessing for the country.
Right. So is there usually a deadline, so to speak? It sounds like it's a deadline. You need to do something with your policy.
Yes, so you file a claim, you have 2 years in which to get paid that claim from the date of the first payment. So let's go back to the LA fires. They happened in January 25. If their payment came in and that first payment usually came in on the, what is called the ACV value, which is the actual cash value, and the dwelling, usually came in about a month later. 80% of people were paid their policy limit about a month out.
Okay.
Okay.
So without even having to do anything, they just
Anything. No insurance companies because they want to look good.
they wanted to close the case sooner.
Yes.
So there's an ulterior motive there. They want you to happy and just move on.
Yes, and they have all the news, all the eyes around them. They want to look good. You imagine I lose my home, I lose everything, and a guy that's trained to be a Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Nice Lady gives me a total loss check.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're taking care of me. What they don't tell you is that these endorsements, okay, and now we're going to talk about those endorsements of code upgrades, which it depends what insurance company you have.
Right.
If you have, as an example, Allstate, that is on the extended replacement cost, which is another endorsement, you're looking at 50%. If you have, as an example, Farmers, you're looking at 25%. Every insurance company has a different percentage. Some are 20%, some are 100% on extended replacement cost. So as an example, a family that's sitting right now in Pasadena on the Altadena, right?
Terrible.
Yeah, in fires, and they were paid $700,000-$800,000. $1 million, they think, oh, my insurance company took care of me. What they don't understand is that that same policy between code upgrades, extended replacement costs, the debris removal on personal property, those amounts may also end up to
add on the value
of what they were just paid, if not more.
Wow, that is such an example, because if you imagine the house got burned down, they cannot just build it right away. They have to come in and clean it. There's a hazardous side of work that has to get done. Deep cleanup, right?
Yes.
Ground prep.
Yeah, so you have the different organizations that are coming out, usually through FEMA, that are doing the demo and the cleanup. And most of those people, going back to the Palisades and the Eaton fire, all they have is a lot that's clean. They don't even have plans yet. They don't have construction. So they're still struggling, because this is what happens. Say, as an example, in a certain area, you have a contractor that charges, say, $200 a square feet for rebuild. $200 to $300. Now you have thousands of homes that went up in smoke.
Not enough builder.
Yes, now they are at $500, $600, $700, $800, $900 a square feet, and people can't afford to put their houses back. And it's that demand, right? And what happens is now you need all that money that's inside your policy. And if you don't know how to go about getting it, a public insurance adjuster, their main job is to bring the documentation. We don't do magic.
Present the case and the proof.
Exactly. What we do is we bring the evidence. We say, this is the paperwork that says, this is why you owe my client on code upgrades. This is why you owe my clients on extended replacement costs. Some families decide, because they don't know what they have in their policy, I'm going to just sell the lot and move to Wyoming with my children because it's less expensive over there.
Right, because they thought they had no options. So
exactly.
Knowledge is power.
It is power, and knowledge in the right voice and in the right hand can help an entire community. Going back to coverages, a lot of the people, although they came out and they paid out limits on dwelling, on personal property, most insurance companies only paid 50% of coverage. So what happens is now, in able to get the rest of your funds, you have to do an inventory. What we do as public insurance adjusters is we help put that inventory so that people can get the rest of their money, because they sometimes attempt to get it. And what happens is, let's say that you were paid $400,000 on personal property and they still owe you the $400,000. If you don't do that inventory properly, it may be that the insurance company says, hey, now you owe me 50, because they depreciate the heaven out of it.
Yes. It's a 20 years old TV.
Yes.
10 years old dining.
Yes. And if you don't know exactly how to present that inventory, then it becomes where you don't get your money. I tell people, before I ever met you, I have 80% of your inventory already done, because we all sit in chairs, hopefully. We all eat with forks. We all sleep in bed. So
the basic lineup.
Yes, we all have about 80% of the same items. The difference between you and I is that you went to that particular vacation and you picked up that item or you inherited this. But the basic we all have.
Right. What about something that's more valuable, like limited item? I'm sure that costs more than regular
Yeah, some
value.
people have antiques, some people
Right.
have. That's the places where we bring in experts to be able to identify what the cost is on those items because it becomes very emotional. Imagine, go back. Imagine for a minute you lost everything and now you have to reconstruct.
To bring back the memory what I've lost.
It's
That's true.
PTSD over and over and over because it takes a long time to bring back everything you had in the house.
Right.
And then you don't do yourself service because you don't remember. Like there is such a thing as dental floss and needles and the little, the devil is in the details. And every single item amounts to monetary. You want to make sure you have an expert doing that and someone that can say to the insurance companies, every item that you and I own has a lifespan. Most insurance companies look at an inventory and they just go across the board 50%. I'm going to just bring down the
no.
and it's like, no, my shoes are not the same as my dress. It's not the same as my electronics. It's
Or not H5 versus like.
yeah, they're two different things when it comes down to personal property as far as the lifespan of it. So you cannot just across the board take 50% off. So that's the part where we help policyholders to get the rest of the money. The other place is additional living expense. An additional living expense, some people, we are able to negotiate. If you had a major claim and you have additional living expense, you can present to the insurance company, hey, what is the fair value of my home? And agree to that. Not every insurance company will agree, but it's something that I present and I have been able to get for most of my clients. Well, the value to rent a house with furniture, let's say
Same size.
yeah, the same size.
Family.
Exactly. And during this demand, it may be that before the fire it was 4,000. Now, because of the demand, that may be 8,000. So you take that amount, the fair rental value, you take that amount and you say, hey, insurance company, this is what you owe me and you owe it to me for 24 months. And then that money, someone can take and go out and buy a home as an investment and be able to live there. And then after this house is fixed, then they can sell it or they can keep it as an investment. Like I'm not saying every insurance company will be open to that, but if you present it in the right way, most insurance companies will be able to pay that. Those are the things that we help families negotiate. But more than anything, I'm a policyholder. I'm a homeowner.
You understand where they stand.
I have had claims. I have had a fire in my home. My kids were little, and again, it's gonna age me. But I used to boil bottles, and that started a fire because I was exhausted, fell asleep. The bottles were boiling, and it started a fire in our house. And I have been in that position. I know what it feels like when an insurance company just delays, looks to deny, right? And that's more than anything, I tell people, look, my job as a public insurance adjuster, especially this community, I would love for the Lord to open doors in Hawaii.
Assist them.
Yeah, to assist them in Hawaii because I believe that they're the ones that need it the most, right? And to be able to get them the rest of their money. But my heart, what I want them to know is, look, this is what your policy says. I do free valuations all day long. My tagline is don't get burned twice. This is what you have. This is what your policy says. And this is what you're entitled to. It's like there is A, this is what you have. This is what they pay B. This is what you have C. And if you want to do D because you want to come in contract with me, perfect. But if not, you could stay at C and look to do it on your own. I will break it down of how you can do it. Most people are like, no, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And I don't think that they should, right? But at least they have the understanding of what they need to be able, if they wanted to attempt that, to do it on their own.
I'm sure there's a great advantage of hiring an expert to assist them, just like with many other things, right? Where I'm not a lawyer. If it comes to legal matter, I would like to have a nice lawyer represent me. If our house has some issue, I need to file a claim. I'm not an insurance agent. I can read, but I'm sure devil's in the details. So a lot of fine print, I don't really know what that means, right? But I think you serve in such an important and impactful role to kind of hold their hand, to walk them through the process and explain to them the way that they will understand. So then either they hire you or they can go advocate for themselves.
That's a great example of having an attorney, right? I tell people, look, it's like this. It's the insurance company, God forbid somebody's suing you, and they have an attorney.
Right.
The insurance company has their representative. You should have the same balance. And that's what a public adjuster is. I tell people, it's the worst of us is the best of us. Like, if you don't like my personality because you're going to be with me for the next 6, 12, maybe 18 months, hire somebody else.
Right.
Just find an expert that's on your side, that has your same interests. We don't get a fee unless we collect on your behalf, and we don't get a fee out of past money that you were paid.
Right.
The contract starts now. It's based upon what I collect from here on forward, right?
And I assume you probably charge, depends on the case and the timeline percentage, and that's negotiate with your client.
Yes. So I tell people, because people ask me fees, right? And I say, let's do a free valuation first. Because if you have $100,000 left, I'm going to quote you this fee. But if you have $1 million, I'm going to quote you this fee. Like, the fees are based upon what is inside the policy. How much work, right?
Yeah, how much work?
How much work? Is it going to be 3 months, or is it going to be the next 12 months? It depends, right? So our fee definitely is negotiable. It depends on the recovery, and we're coming in to get the overage. That's my company. That's what we follow.
Well, that's kind of table the cost aside, because I'm sure like a lot of people wanted to know what they are supposed to do during right after wildfire that happened, right? That the house burned down their entire house. What would you suggest for these people to do, let's just say immediately after the fire has happened, the first week?
So I like to go back even a little bit further, because we are investors, right? And I like to say that if it's your primary home, if I had a magic wand, this is what I would be
Go
doing.
back in time.
Yes, go back in time, document, like videotape your entire house, document the attic, everything you had in the attic. There's people that have hundreds of thousands of dollars in that attic that they inherited. Some people have it in garages. And then when it burns completely, insurance company,
They're looking for proof.
they're looking
Right,
for proof
right.
that you had it. So if you document your loss before the loss, that's very important, especially the people here in Texas and the people in California. Like, they're always having claims, right? Wildfires can happen anywhere. But if you live in a state where it's high, come on, let's document
Yes.
what we have, right?
I love that so much, because you kind of brought it back. Like, that's something that everybody can do, especially if you're living in a high hazard, high wind area. You just know that you're in a very dangerous zone.
Yes, make sure
can
you have insurance, because going back to the Palisades fires, those people were canceled, a lot of them, right before those fires. Like, if you do not have a mortgage, make sure that you get insurance. I go to so many fires where people have let go the insurance.
They own it free and clear.
They own it free and clear, and it's an expense I'm not going to have. But imagine my grandma starting all over in her 80s. She has nothing, lost her house, lost everything, and she had no insurance. So before the claim, I like to always say, when people ask me that question, what is the first thing? The first thing is 3 months
3
before.
months ago, just start documenting everything. House
Yes.
tour.
Yes, and make sure you have the right policy. You want to make sure that you have call. I mean, we have AI now. Put it in ChatGPT and Claude. Ask, what is the square footage if my house was to burn down to the ground in my area, in my zip code,
Right.
more or less. And then you know, okay, I have a 2,000 square foot home and the square footage is $200. So I need at least 400. You know what I mean? So, and make sure you have extended replacement cost, and make sure that you have code upgrades, because the way a house was built back in the 60s,
It's not the same.
it's
as
not the
what's
same
right
as what
now.
the city's going to say. And
Right.
everything that's a trade is going to go up to that value, whether it's electrical, plumbing, AC, or your vac, right? You have now all your trust system, everything that requires a license for a contractor falls under code upgrades. In some cases, it could be fire sprinklers, or it could be,
That's
it
a very
depends.
common one.
Every single city is different in what it is that they require. So you want to make sure you have the right coverage. And then hopefully, once all of that is taken care of, then what should you do first? Well, definitely the policy says that you as a policyholder need to protect the property from further damage or someone coming in and getting hurt. So if you don't have a total loss and it's just a partial loss and there is a hole in your roof, you want to cover that. If there's broken windows, you want to cover that. So immediately you need to secure the property.
secure the
Yes.
premise.
And then they are also owed the insurance company to have a report in a timely fashion. So do not fix anything. You have to give the insurance company the open avenue and the space to be able to inspect. There's people that they have claims and they call a plumber and they call a contractor.
Start
and
fixing stuff. Yes.
And it's like, where's the evidence of your claim? I can't see it, therefore I can't pay you. So you want to make sure that you document your loss properly. Then if you are, again, part of those families that lost everything, I think that the most important thing after you file the claim, you have your family good, is be able to get support.
Mental support.
Yes, because I worked Paradise and they were, and I don't want to get emotional, but they were over 300 families that I represented. The worst fire that California has ever had. And it's totally different when your house burns down versus when an entire community burns down. Because the people, your neighbor that are supposed to support you, the people at your church, every single entity that could be support, they're also needing support. So I will highly recommend you find the support that you need. There's hope when you actually find the right people in your corner. And part of what I do, the reason why I feel it's a call of God is, yes, I get you the numbers, but I will also support you in anything that I can to make sure that your family is good. We do need support, whether it's a therapist, whether it's even, I would say to people, borrow a pastor from a different county, okay? Borrow somebody.
Have them come in.
Yes. I think that's what we as a nation,
support.
that's what we need more than anything. And there's great organizations. You have United Policyholder, you have, the Red Cross, you have a lot of nonprofits that come, and yet still not enough. Because when you have thousands of people and long old lines to get support, I think that the government should take on contracts to not just, pay through FEMA to do cleanup, but actually have the emotional and spiritual support that people need, because it's very difficult.
It's very,
especially for women to come home, what we consider a safe environment is no longer there. So you see a woman that is running her own company, running her family, doing these things just completely fall apart because this one thing that she considered this area is good is no longer good. I don't even know where I'm going to spend the night tonight. And it becomes a whirlwind.
it could quickly just send people down to spiral.
Yes.
To just.
And you have children that in the middle of the night were pulled from the fire.
Other children.
It's so sad. Like, I don't want to cry, but I have had people share their stories as they're walking out of Paradise and just watching people die in front of them and trying to grab people and put them in the river and try to save as many as they could by running them full engulf, risking their lives to save this man that was handicapped. Like, when you think about the stories of what these people went through, we need to do better. As a community, as a world. I believe that the other reason why I definitely want to continue to help the families in Hawaii is because it's easy to help the people in California. We're a lot more on the news. We're a lot closer to them. It's easy to help someone in Florida, in Texas, that went through a hurricane. To fly across over there, no, they don't get the same support.
Yes.
Let's not kid ourselves.
No. That's why when you told me you're going to go to Hawaii but not go on vacation, that just, I need to have you come on and talk about this.
Yes.
Because it takes certain type of personality and grit and perseverance to want us to travel thousands of miles away to help these people.
Yes. And as much as I want to be able to do that and be able to help, I pray, Lord, I want them to want the help. Because so when I reach out to a lot of these families, I did a lot of calling. The biggest thing for me was to help them understand that I was not a scammer.
Oh, yes. Because like I said, a lot of people didn't know about this public insurance adjuster. That's what we want. That's why we want to help get the words out. Like this is a legitimate thing that you
Yeah.
can have people who are helping you at your corner to help you decipher all those fine print on your insurance policy and get what you deserve.
Yes, an insurance policy that the insurance company attorneys put together that nobody reads. And
Yes.
even if you do try to read it, you don't understand it because they do it purposely.
They make it confusing.
Exactly.
And the devil is in the detail.
Yes,
Always.
yes,
So,
yes. It's in those little prints
yes.
that you don't know where all of your coverages are at. So you want to, more than anything, you want to decipher what it is that's in your policy and what you're entitled to. And that's what a good public adjuster does. They look at your policy, they say, this is what's in your policy, and this is how I can come alongside you and try to help you do that. Yeah.
I would definitely go home, look at my policy, make sure it's covered up to code in case my house got burned down. I don't have to get a 1970 house. It can be built to the current grade.
Yes, with you not having to come out of pocket, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's important.
It's very important. Well, I think it's great for us to have you come out today. I'm so excited because I usually like to interview people who they just enjoy what they do. They have a fire in them. They want to help people. And you just fit my podcast MO so much. So thank you so much for coming out.
For having me.
To share your nugget and share your experience to just help us understand. There are a lot of people out there might be feeling lost right now, don't know what to do. They might be already gotten that, you said, the first check and just like, you know what, this is what I get. I guess I can't afford to rebuild. I need to move somewhere else cheaper. I can rebuild. But don't close that chapter yet. So
No, don't sign anything. Do not sign releases. You want to be able to call an expert and be able to get a free valuation of your claim. I give a free guide. Is don't get burned twice. Yeah. So if you want to get that free guide, you just go on don'tgetburnedtwice.com and there's a free guide of what not to do and the things that you may or may not experience as a family and how we can help you by just educating those that are in that position.
yes. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
I
so
will
much for having me.
include the link definitely in the description so people can reach out to you.
Thank you.
so
And
much,
thank you
Glenis.
for everything you do. I want to acknowledge that you're such a human, such a hero in my world. You continue to show up and continue to bring value. And I'm just grateful to have you in my life, in my world.
Oh, thank you. Just playing my little part. So
Yeah. And if we all do our little part, the world becomes a much
better place.
Yes.
All right. See you next time.